Hey everyone, I am back with the May 2023 market report. This one just came out, so I wanted to get this information out to you guys as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Pretty interesting statistics. Really one surprising one that I'll show you guys in just a minute here. Let me fix my collar here. All right. So first off, let's just go ahead and jump right in. We have got the main body of the information here. I'm going to read right through it with you guys because there's a ton to unpack here. So I'm just going to dive right in. But you can see here, this one just came out in May. Home buyers and sellers saw more opportunity across the Austin Round Rock metro statistic area, according to the Austin Board of Realtors. The market report shows that housing inventory grew 2.2 months up to 3.4 months of inventory. So that's pretty great. And remember, these are year over year stats. So this means that there's more properties on the market. It's still technically a seller's market because you want to see about 6 months worth of inventory before you have what's a seller's market or what's considered a seller's market. But there is more property to choose from if you're out shopping for a home. So that is good news, especially for the home buyers out there. More opportunity. In fact, it shows here that active listings soared by 118%. So we basically have almost doubled in inventory since May of last year. So that's pretty great. That's good news. I think a lot of that being, a year over year statistic, I think a lot of that right now is we're entering into the summer months. So it's expected that you'd see a pretty significant uptick in listings during the summer months. That's pretty common. So it shows here that last month's housing market activity, talking about May, of course, because we're in the month of June here, demonstrates not only a stable market, but one where optimism for the months ahead continues to grow. Definitely think that that's the case. I think people are starting to realize that, hey, it may be time to jump back in the market. Rates have stabilized, as prices came down and are now slowly trending back up. So definitely agree with that sentiment. I'm getting that feeling from a lot of my sellers and buyers as well. So Ashley Jackson, the ABOR, Austin Board of Realtors president, said, with the ebb and flow of mortgage rates, this is when the value of a realtor comes into play. They can help buyers find down payment assistance programs or identify financial options. Real estate remains one of the most powerful long-term investments, of course, and having a trusted expert in your corner is crucial. Definitely have to agree with all of that. Pretty standard there. It's like, you wouldn't want to go to a court without a lawyer on your side, right? You need the pros there. But some of the things that I want to highlight here, this is something I wanted to kind of unpack a little bit. Down payment, let me see if it'll let me highlight that. Down payment assistance programs or to identify financial options. This is one of the things that makes it so important to work with a realtor and a lender to a mortgage broker who really understands uh, different kind of closing cost options that you can encompass both in your loan and when negotiating with the seller of a property if you're a buyer, of course. Um, so a couple things there. Really, really what they're talking about here with down payment assistance programs. Those are loan programs that are in place for people that need some down payment assistance. Obviously, there's a couple different ones. USDA loan is a zero down loan. The FHA loan is a 3.5% down loan, and there are 3% down. Conventional loans as well. So if you don't have a ton of cash, needing to save up 10, 20% is definitely a thing of the past. You can usually get by with a little bit less than that or considerably less than that, really. But you can couple those loan programs with the big one that most people use here in Texas is the TSHAC grant. And that can be used to cover anywhere from 2 to 6% of your closing cost in your down payment. So let's say that you have, a FHA loan, 3.5% down. You can get a TSHAC grant to couple with that loan and reduce your down payment. You can potentially wipe it out completely depending on how much of that grant you want to borrow from. So very cool program there. In addition to that, another big factor that we're seeing a lot of these days is seller closing costs, sellers covering closing costs for the buyers. So sellers they can't use their funds to help cover your down payment, but they can use their funds to help you cover your closing costs as the buyer. And closing costs typically range between 2 and 3% here in the area. So what that means is, let's say you find a home that you love for $400,000, and with the down payment and closing costs, you're going to need $20,000 cash to close on that home. You could use the TSHAP grant to cover, 3.5% of that 400K, so $13,000 worth of the cash that you need. And then me or whoever your dedicated realtor is negotiate the rest of the closing costs with the seller. So that could really reduce the amount of expenses that you're going to have to bring to the table to close on the property. You can imagine if we offer that seller 400K and say, hey, but we need $8,000 in closing costs back at the end of the deal, that, and you use that TSHAC grant to cover the other 13K. Well, there you go. You just wiped out $21,000 worth of expenses, cash that you no longer have to bring out of your pocket. So big, very, very important to work with a realtor who understands how to negotiate closing costs, and to work with a realtor and a lender who really understand the down payment assistance programs out there that are available. Because there's a lot of money out there that can help you purchase that home on your way to home ownership. So definitely something to consider there. And then obviously, of course, if you're an investor, you definitely want to see where the opportunity's at, whether that be some of the up and coming areas like Taylor, at least here in the Austin area, Taylor, Jarrell, Georgetown, Kyle, Buda, Lago Vista. There are some really good areas that are really booming right now that are at the verge of booming, where they've been built up, they have the infrastructure, and there's a lot of houses planning on that are being built out there, and a lot of builders that have plans to develop those areas. But because they're still, a little bit further out from the main area, the prices are better, and a good realtor can help you identify those areas that offer those incentives. And then if you're an investor, of course, you want to be able to locate some of the areas that developments are happening. If you follow us here, you know that we drop new development stories once or twice a month typically, and just try to keep people updated as to where, even within the Austin area or outside of that, where some of the major developments starting to happen, stuff that's on 5-10 year timelines. So you can get in early and really take advantage of that growth over the next decade or so. So all that to say, yes, work with someone who knows the area, who knows the market, and who knows those down payment and closing cost options that are available to you. Oops, sorry. So I'll go ahead and jump right back in. In May, pending sales across the MSA dipped slightly, 0.5%, to 3,243 pending sales, while homes spent an average of 60 days on the market, up from 49 days. So homes are sitting a little bit longer on the market there. This year versus last year, of course. The median home price declined 15% to $467,500. So that's right in line with what we've been seeing and saying for the past several months, is that prices basically fell in 2022. By the end of 2022, prices had fallen about 15%. Now, remember, this is year over year. So prices are down 15% year over year this year. However, they've been trending back up since January of 2023. So prices are on the climb, but they're still lower than what you would have paid a year ago by 15%. Here's a pretty cool graph. I've showed this one so many times, but again, if you follow this channel, you've probably seen it a bunch, but here, let me show this to you. Now, this graph I find fascinating. Very cool here. Basically, this is the last 10 years of real estate prices here in the Austin area for residential real estate. And you can see slow, steady climb, about $25,000 to $50,000 a year for basically, gosh, what is that, till 2021, so 8 years. Then this is the pandemic era right here, boom, an explosion in prices. And then this is right around when they started raising interest rates, and you can see the interest rates caused that market crash. There's that 15% decline year over year right here. But that crash stopped back in December of 2023. Of 2022, and you can see that we've been slowly trending right back up. And it's also very interesting to see that if you draw out the trend line, you can see that we basically fell back down to right where we should have been had we not had this insane boom and then rate crash here. So just an interesting stat there, just to clear up any confusion, of course, too. So yeah, that 15% is year over year, but prices are on the rise. So residential home sales decreased, so there's just less sales happening this right now versus last year. Dr. Carrie Losey, the housing economist for ABOR, commented on the status of home purchasing power in Austin. Nationally, from May 2022 to May 2023, purchasing power declined by an estimated 8 to 9%. So basically, as rates went up, you could afford less house. So your purchase power went down because prices got higher, at least prices for the money, the money that you're borrowing. Those interest rates, when they go up, they really do decrease your buying power quite a bit. And so you can see that about 8 to 9% of buying power, purchase power, was lost over this, the past year since the rate started to crash, and now where we're at now. And that's due to the rising mortgage rates. An average of 6.4% were among the highest they've been all year. So the rates, obviously, just still high. However, in Austin, the moderation of home prices, in other words, the 15% fall in home prices, has helped mitigate the decline in purchasing power. In fact, from May 2022 to May 2023, the monthly mortgage payment decline estimated mortgage payment decline an estimated 3 to 4%. So that's a really crazy statistic as well. Basically, what this new report is saying is that in the past year, even though rates went up, from anywhere from like low threes all the way up to mid sixes now, it's still cheaper to buy a home than it was a year ago by roughly 3 or 4%. So not by much, but because the prices fell while the rates were going up, they balanced each other out. And it's actually more affordable now to buy than it was a year ago. So very cool statistic there. Leads me to another point too. This is why we say all the time, marry the house and date the rate, because you can see here that, say right now, it would be cheaper for you, that mortgage payment that you could have expected to pay last year, it would be cheaper this year if you bought right now, even with higher rates. Now, can you imagine if you bought right now, even with higher rates, and then rates go down over the next 12 to 24 to 36 months, and you have the opportunity to refinance from a 6% rate down to a 4% rate or something along those lines? Now you've gotten into affordability ranges that haven't been seen here in the Austin area, and who knows how long. I haven't done the math here to figure that out, but obviously in years. So take advantage of that price decrease because it's balanced out with the rates. You're not paying more for a house right now than you would have last year because the prices have fallen. Buy now when the price, because you can only lock in your price once, but that rate you can change over the years. If you find that there's if it's time to refinance and rates have come down, it may very well be worth it to refinance at that point and save you a lot of money, but you're not going to be able to get the prices that you're getting right now. We can see the trend is going back up. The expectation is that the market's going to continue to climb now that we've hit bottom 6 months ago and we're climbing at this point. So now's the time to buy, lock in, cheaper than you would have last year, and then refinance down the road once those rates are a little bit lower. Lucy also weighed in on buyer and seller expectation in the market. Last month, homes sold for 94% of their original listing price. The continued uptick in that figure demonstrates that sellers are pricing their home more accurately and buyers are more responsive to those prices than in the early part of 2023. Context matters. In May's 2022 median home prices were $550,000. It was the highest median home price in the Austin region ever. Relative to pre-pandemic levels, last month's median home price is up 44%. So let's go back to that graph real quick. Basically what they're saying here is that this is the pre-pandemic levels right here, that if you had bought then, even if you experienced this mad rush and then a crash, you're still fine here. You've gained 44% in this time frame, this little window of time, which is still pretty incredible appreciation if you bought right before the pandemic. I know I wish I had bought about 10 more houses than I did at that time. And I'm sure everybody feels the same way. So just an interesting little stat there that we are still up considerably even after that roller coaster of the past couple of years. Jackson also encouraged people to attend ABOR's annual Central Housing Summit. I will be there. If you guys are interested, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to send you the link to register. You can watch it on Zoom or you can attend in person. I think it's like $40 if you're not a member of the Austin Board of Realtors. But yeah, that's definitely, I go to that every single year. Phenomenal information. I will definitely update everybody here once I have some more information from that meeting. I'm looking forward to that. No issue is more critical than future growth in our region. Austin recently emerged as the 10th largest city, and 3 of the top 4 fastest growing cities in the nation are in Central Texas. If you've been watching, you know that is Leander. Well, Georgetown's the fastest growing city in the entire country. Leander, I want to say, is the 3rd fastest, and then Kyle was the 4th fastest growing city in the country. So just goes to show you that, I mean, it's happening here. Everybody's moving to the Austin area. And that's why, we see the prices are starting to climb again, and it's likely going to continue to be that way for the distant future, quite frankly. So let me just jump into the graphics real quick because these are always fun to take a quick peek at. So this is Austin Round Rock metro statistic area, not to be confused with the city of Austin. So you can see the city of Austin is, of course, higher. Austin Round Rock is encompassing the whole Round Rock, North Austin region as well. Median home price is $467,500. It's down 15% year over year. Closed sales are down 4%, so not too bad at all there. Less sales happening, but not by much. Average days on markets have gone up for sure, so it's good to have. It's important to have a very strong marketing plan if you're putting your home on the market, and your realtor should have a very strong marketing plan for you. So new listings down 12%, active listings up 118%, and pending sales are down 1%. So closed sales are down 4%, but pending sales are actually down a little bit less. So you can see that we're basically getting balanced out. We're getting to that point where it's going to be where sales are going to start to get back in line with what you would expect, year over year. Sales volume is down, of course, because sales are down, and inventory is up. We talked about that already. Here's another cool thing that I've mentioned a couple times before, is that we've got Bastrop County. So if you're not familiar with Austin, Bastrop County is kind of to the south east of the Austin, Travis County area. And you can see here that they fared better year over year. They only lost 17% of value. It's important to know that this is more of a rural area. And this is a trend that we'll see as we go through these graphics, is that the rural areas did considerably better. They retained more equity than the more populated areas. So 7%, they only went down half as much as the Austin Round Rock metro statistic area. So it's just interesting factor, the fact that rural properties did better, which tells me that they were selling better over the past year. People wanted to get outside of the city and move into these more rural areas. And again, they performed better because of it. Caldwell County, same thing. So Caldwell County, you can see more rural. It's down 9% instead of 16%. City of Austin took a big hit, right in line with what we saw with the metro statistic area. Let's see here. Hays County. Hays County performed basically as you would expect alongside Travis County. Hays County is just south of Austin. It's basically that whole area in between Austin and San Antonio. So it's really kind of an extension of the Austin market at this point. And so you can see that they fared basically the same. Travis County took the biggest hit of all. And then Williamson County, again, you start to get a little more rural, did a little bit better. Prices in Williamson County are just a little bit lower right now than what we're seeing in the Austin Round Rock MSA. So just some cool stats. As always, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be on standby. I love bringing these reports to you. It helps educate me, helps educate everybody that's watching. So yeah, let me know if you do have any questions, if there's anything you want to review with what we've seen here today. And then also, if you're interested in attending the housing update by ABOR next month, let me know. I'll get you the information you need to get those tickets. Well, I hope you guys are doing well. Looking forward to hearing from everybody. Have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all soon.